All right, we're on to some quadratic formula problems. So I broke this up. This will not look like this on the final exam. You need to know how to do this on your own and how to use the formula, which is already on the formula chart in formulas relating to quadratic equations, quadratic formula. Now, one hint to know when you need to use this formula is your answers will look like this. If your answers look like this, or like this, for example, you're going to need to use the quadratic formula. Okay, so just get used to that. If you see answer choices that look like this, you know that this is what you need to do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this equation, 3x squared plus 3 equals 7x, and we need it to equal 0. So we're going to subtract 7x from both sides. Okay, and then we're going to have a new equation, 3x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. And this is going to be our A, our B, and our C. A is 3, B is -7, and C is 3. Make sure those things are in the proper order. It was one of the most common mistakes on this, the last test we took, was having those numbers out of order. Now to find D, we need to plug in to find our discriminant. Again, you need to know this stuff. So B is -7, A is 3, and C is also 3. So I'm going to plug that in the calculator exactly as it sits. And it gives me 13. Now 13 is positive. Positive means that we have two solutions. When we have two solutions, it means we need to actually plug them into the formula, which is -b plus or minus the square root of d all over 2 times a. So we're going to plug in b, which is -7. We're going to plug in d, which is 13. We're going to plug in a, which is 3. So our first step to simplifying this is to get rid of some of the parentheses if we can. Okay, -7 turns that to a +7, plus or minus the square root of 13, because 13 does not have a rational square root. If we put it in the calculator, it gives us a crazy decimal, so we're going to leave it inside the square root sign. 2 times 3 is 6. Now, our answer choices are not quite the same way as this, but we cannot simplify this anymore. So the best thing you can do is to just separate it into two answers, one with a plus and one with a minus. Okay, which if you look here, this 13 is going to help us eliminate some answer choices. These two both have 13 in the answers. So we're going to look up here, 7 plus square root of 13, that's there. Okay, it's letter C. This one has a -7 at the beginning, which would be a very easy mistake to make if you did not check those double negatives and turn it into a positive. So you have to be very careful. Close answers, or answers that are easy mistakes, are going to be answer choices, so you need to do a good job of checking those. Number 6 is very similar, except that lucky for us it's already solved, so we can go straight to the ABC part. A, the number with x squared, is 8. B is 2. C is 1. So we're going to plug these numbers into our formula and find the answers. First blank is for B, that's 2. Second blank is for A, that's 8. Third blank is for C, that's 1. We are going to plug these numbers into our calculator. Gives us -28. Now, D equaling -28 means that there are no solutions. No real solutions, which is option D. That's a tricky question and a tricky answer. So one way you can check is if it's already solved, you can plug it into the calculator, and no solutions means that this graph will never touch the x-axis. So we're going to check and make sure that's the case. So 8x squared plus 2x plus 1. If I graph that, it shouldn't cross the x-axis. And if you look there, it doesn't look like it does. I'm going to zoom in on this one just to be sure. Oops, I pressed zoom out. Let me fix that. Let me zoom in so I can get a closer look just to make sure it doesn't cross. And there you go. It doesn't reach the x-axis, so there is no real solution for this one. Number 7 asks which function's graph has a vertex at 3, 5 and contains the point 5, 13. Now, we're going to go, it says, and there's a star here, because we have the vertex form of a quadratic equation, which looks like this, if h comma k is the vertex. So that's a times x minus h squared plus k, which means that the opposite of the number on the inside should be the x value of the vertex, and the number on the outside should be the other value. Now, we're not going to worry about a for this moment, but we are going to say that a should be, if that's 3, it should be x minus 3. If that's plus 5, it should be plus 5. So we're looking for a minus 3 and a plus 5 to start with. Okay, that's the best way we can start. So I've got a minus 3 minus 5, that's out. I've got a plus 3 minus 5, that's out. I've got minus 3 plus 5, that's a possibility. And I've got plus 3 plus 5, that one's out also. So I don't even need to actually check this. I'm going to anyway. C should be the only correct answer. If I plug this in, I should be able to find at least these 2 points in the table, which is what I'm going to do first. Okay, so let me go ahead and plug this in. It's 2 parentheses x minus 3 squared plus 5. Now if I look at this, okay, here's my graph. I'm going to go to my table. I'm going to look for these 2 points, 3, 5, 3, 5, and then 5, 13, 5, 13. This is the only graph that will do that. C is the correct answer. Moving on to page number 8. It says, what is the vertex of the quadratic function graph below? Well, your vertex is the point where the graph turns around. So we just need to find our x's. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. And then down, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8. That's it. That's all that one asks for. Number 9 says the roots of a quadratic equation are -2 and 3. Which of the following equations represent a quadratic equation with these roots? So, just so we have an idea of what that looks like, it's going to be a graph that goes like this, right? That crosses through where this is -2 and this is +3. Now there's a way you can do it from here. I'm going to use the calculator and use the graph to check. But what you should see is that this is -2, 0, and this is 3, 0. So these are 2 points we're going to be looking for in the table. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plug each of these in, since they're already equal to 0, to check our answer. X minus 2 times x plus 3. Look at it. Okay, this crosses at -3 and +2. That one's out. Let's go here. I'll change this to a plus. Change this to a minus. Look at our graph. Okay, that crosses at -2 and +3. Let's check to be sure. -2, 0. +3, 0. This is my answer. The other way you could do it is to set each of these equal to 0, each of the factors. Solve for x. And we end up with x equals -2 and x equals +3, which are the answers we were looking for. Okay, either one of those methods will work. All right, let's go ahead and take a break before we get on to the last few problems.